Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 581, written by Anonymous. I've never heard a voice like this. Okay, I still don't understand what happened. I don't drink or do drugs or take any medications. I don't have any hallucinations. A few weeks ago, I was in the kitchen. Suddenly, I hear some guy say in a very loud voice, "Hey, hi, hello." I look around, but there's no one. I can't find the source of the voice. At first, I thought it was my uncle. But the voice doesn't stop. He then says, "Just turn off the light." I stand there confused by who is speaking. Then he tells me again to turn off the light. I don't do anything and the voice stops. I just went back to my room. Now, our neighbor's house is very close to us, so we hear their voices all the time, but it sounded like there was someone in the kitchen with me. Our kitchen only has one window on the outside that is near the ceiling, but if someone were to peek into that, they would have to climb on the roof of our house because our kitchen is on the second floor. But wouldn't it be strange to climb on the roof of someone's house and tell them to turn off the light? It could be my neighbors, but I'd recognize their voices. My mom was in the other room and was sleeping. She didn't hear anything. Another thing is that it was more than 10 p.m. at night. Most likely explanation is that the voice was coming from my neighbor's home. I am still confused about what happened. I haven't experienced anything like this before. Case notes, file number 581. Okay, I see two possibilities. Either it was some form of prank by your neighbors, or perhaps a friend. They climbed onto your roof to simulate a creepy voice from no known source, muttering nonsense. Thing is, I don't see this as very likely because the whole point of a prank is to get people's reactions, and for them to know they were pranked. To leave someone in a perpetual state of confusion would just be cruel, not a prank. The other possibility is something I've pondered on a bit lately. That is, information sharing between parallel universes. Keep in mind, how the multiverse is theorized to look is similar to an onion, but a nearly infinitely layered onion. Many universes are damn well right on top of us, but through a dimensional layer we can't access. Still, effectively right there in a physical distance sense, on top of us. So what if occasionally, where the membranes between universes is thin, information can easily pass through? Our voices, which are nothing but sound, molecules in the atmosphere vibrating in a specific order, and at specific frequencies. In this case, a man's voice in the same kitchen, but a different universe, may be telling his kid to turn off the light. It's cool to think about, and could potentially even explain some ghost sightings or paranormal sounds. Case file number 582, written by Andy-Chamomile. She wasn't my Morgan. I had a pretty bizarre experience with my roommate. Let's call her Morgan. Morgan had just started rush week, which included lots of late night drinking and partying. She started coming back to the dorms really late and would wake me up because I'm a very light sleeper. One night, Morgan comes in around 3 a.m. and she has had way too much to drink. She is slurring her speech and barely walking straight. I've never seen her so drunk. I turn on the bedroom lights just as she throws up in the middle of the room. I get her some water, help her to the bathroom, and finally get her to bed. I use towels to absorb the vomit, since the smell is so overwhelming. Eventually, I got back to bed close to 4 a.m., which sucked because I had classes at 8 a.m., but Morgan doesn't have class, so I thought good for her, she can sleep off the hangover. I wake up at 7 a.m. and Morgan is not there. Her bed is perfectly made, but the vomit left a bit of a stain in the rug. I thought that maybe she managed to get up and get some breakfast, but it was weird that she had already made her bed. Anyways, I go to the kitchen to make myself breakfast, and she is nowhere in the apartment. As I'm about to leave for class, Morgan walks through the front door with two other sorority girls. They are making a ruckus, talking about how they spent all night partying. She apologizes to me for not coming back to the dorms and hopes that I wasn't too worried that she didn't come back all night. I was flabbergasted and kind of pissed. I thought she was playing a prank. I told her, "What in the world are you talking about? You came home last night in a drunken mess. You threw up. I took care of you and put you to sleep." She and the other two girls were adamant that Morgan never came back to the dorms. I showed her the vomit stain and the towels I used to clean up the vomit that she needed to wash herself for making such a mess. They denied everything, even showing me a crappy cell phone video of them partying at around 4 a.m. I had spent the previous night studying. I did not consume any alcohol or drugs, and I swear that the girl that came into my dorm last night was Morgan, but she pretty much had an alibi that wasn't her. Our university was very strict about room keys, and we each had exactly one keycard to come into our apartment. If it wasn't Morgan, who in the world was able to just come inside the apartment, who looked and behaved and talked just like her? I had no idea how this could have happened. Unfortunately, this event put a huge strain on our friendship as we each stuck to our own stories and couldn't trust each other. We were both too grossed out to clean the vomit towels, so we just threw them away. Morgan ended up moving into a sorority house, and I eventually moved back in with my parents to save money. The vomit stain never disappeared. Case file number 583, written by, "Hey, Moon Baby, I absolutely should be dead." So this happened in July 2021, and it has really bothered me, but I have not told anyone until this post. I work for DoorDash and was working later than usual, and it was getting pretty dark, pretty much fully dark, so I would guess around 8 p.m. I had finished a delivery and was about to pull onto 6-lane Main Street with center turning lane, out of a neighborhood/residential road. The road I'm trying to turn right on is pretty dead. I look left and I see a few cars with headlights on almost a block away at a stoplight. I pull out, and as I do so, check one more time at the distance of the cars. I don't remember seeing the cars at the light, but now there's a black sedan bearing down on me, and I mean right there, about to hit me. I can still recall exactly what it looked like. The shape of the headlights, lights were on, and everything. I freeze up and prepare for impact while trying to accelerate out of its way even though I know it's already too late. Nothing happens. I look in all the mirrors, turn and look behind me, and only see the other cars I had seen before, now approaching, but still at a safe distance. I end working for the night and head home, completely shaken. There's no way I could have dodged that car, and it turned the road onto the corner I was on without hitting me. This is the only way I can explain it vanishing, but it still makes no sense. At the speed it was going, at least 40 miles per hour, the speed limit on that road, it would have had to slam its brakes, but I also heard nothing. I had this eerie feeling as I drove home that I was dead. I could not shake it for weeks. Now, at this point, I'm sure I'm not a ghost, but I still cannot let go of that feeling that something is off. Maybe I glitched into a reality where I died or was badly injured. T-boned on the driver's side at 40 miles plus per hour would not be good, I imagine. Then glitched either back or maybe I ended up in a different reality from the one I started in. I feel crazy just saying all that, but I just know even now that something is not the same since then. Some things in my life have been pretty different since then too. Here's a short description of a few that stand out to me. My significant other's stepmom hates me. She was really friendly before, but just kinda snobby, rich type. But since then, she is always hostile when we visit, making rude and snide remarks and or giving me the cold shoulder the whole time. My best friend is really distant. She suddenly stopped reaching out to me, and when I reached out to her, she only replied with a few words and then stopped. We used to chat for hours almost every day before that. I tried getting to the bottom of it, and she keeps referring to falling out and drifting apart, like it's something that happened over a long period of time. I don't want to weird her out with too many questions, but I just don't recall that. To me, it seemed like she suddenly went longer than usual without talking to me. I'm slowly rebuilding our relationship, but I'm still not sure what from. I'm less anxious about sex. I experienced abuse as a child and adolescent that left me afraid of sex. Suddenly, I'm just able to do it and enjoy it far easier with my significant other than before. We rarely had sex, barely once a month before this, and now I can do it much more regularly without the difficult mental struggle that came before. I can still recall the trauma, but it suddenly doesn't bother me now. My significant other even complained about how little we had sex before, but has never mentioned being glad we do it more frequently now or anything. Just seems like that's how it is. Facebook memories I don't remember. So sometimes I scroll Facebook memories and I can remember most of them, or I can shrug and say, that seems like something I would share back then. But sometimes one will pop up and I cannot recall posting it at all. These are usually things I write out myself, what I was doing that day or my feelings on something, which is not something I do much. But every week or so, I see one ranging from a year ago to 10 or more years ago that makes me think, why did I post that? I don't remember saying or feeling that way at all. That's not like me, etc. There are smaller changes that are less important, but these are the ones I take note of every day.